Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got reports that have admitted the Democrats have become completely deranged. They're having these summoning circles where they all sit in a circle, they cross their feet in the White House. They just start bawling and crying. I mean, it's being reported they're crying right now in the White House. That's from Axios. And we're going to get to that. So now, this is what I was saying earlier in the day. It's just this constant split, and it can only help Trump. And it's almost like I don't even care about the polls anymore. Obviously, the polls are all going to say Trump's winning by a lot because right now there's mixed messages within the Democratic Party. They screwed themselves with the VP choice of Kamala. And you do have Biden, who's ridiculously old. We all knew Biden was going to struggle to make it to a second term anyways. I guess you reap what you sow, and now they're throwing a hissy fit, including people like Jon Stewart calling, France, saying, oh, they didn't let the fascists win. Meanwhile, the entire country is being taken over with Palestine flags and all that crap. But let's take a look at this. Apparently, Dr. Jill, yeah. Well, you know what? I had seen something. It was a previous clip, probably like a few years ago, but I saw it last night from The View, where, I don't know if it was Whoopi Goldberg or one of them, actually got Dr. Jill Biden confused, because when you think of doctor in our society, it's somebody that helps people, that, cares for people. There's a lot of responsibility. Remember, with Jill, she demands to be called doctor because she has a doctorate, even though most people that have doctorates say no, because of the way our society, the way it's structured. You don't call people with doctorates doctors. That's reserved for people that have a big responsibility in helping people with their health, administering care, things like that. And so The View was confused. They thought Jill was an actual doctor, and they said maybe she could help for a medical procedure. And one of the ladies was like, so one of the rat ladies is like, I don't think she's actually a doctor. She's got a doctorate though. So the whole Jill thing, apparently Jill had her own entrance theme song called Fanfare for the First Lady. Well, she is the president. I mean, this is so empowering. She's so beautiful, and it's great. America, we've got our first female president. Again, women have got to be pissed about this. I mean, even if it's Kamala, it's just such a charade. She doesn't deserve it. At least with Hillary, she was a career politician, and it kind of seemed legitimate. With Kamala, there's just, I mean, she wasn't elected, nothing. It was a DEI thing. MSNBC admitted it. It's just so hilarious that this might actually happen. We don't know if it's going to happen yet. There's a lot of infighting, and I'm going to get to that in a second. Here's the scoop. Just before House Democrats come to Jesus meeting today on President Biden's path forward, a smaller group of swing district Democrats held what sources described to be a despondent gathering with actual tears. They're coming together in circles, and they sit down and they just start bawling and crying and screaming, just like Hunter Biden when he was screaming at Camp David. And it was reported like from cities away, they could hear Hunter Biden screaming because Joe was like, I'm going to drop out. And they're like, they're obsessed with power. They're afraid of being prosecuted. So they start screaming, both Hunter and Jill, when Joe was like, listen, this is a really embarrassing debate performance. I can't continue. And they convinced him to continue. And now he's gone completely rabid. You've got Democrats saying his ego's ridiculous. You've got I guess really dumb people within that party still supporting him. There are still Biden loyalists out there who think he's the best candidate. I mean, we've even seen actors because all these liberal actors, they're all, I guess, influential, or they take money from people. And now they've totally turned on Biden. And you guys should see under these tweets, it's a bunch of liberal, I guess, people that still somehow support Biden. I think a lot of it is these people have gone so far with the Biden support, they've basically got egg on their face if Biden steps down. Like, they've already gone so far, it would look so bad on all of them based off their previous statements about Biden if he does have to step down. So they're overdoing their support, and you have all these actors now that are just liberal, and they all take money, and it's whatever, and they're all putting out these statements saying, it's time for Biden to step down, threat to democracy, Biden's not going to win, this is ridiculous, he served, whatever, the token statement. And it's people, just normal liberals below with like thousands of likes, by the way. There's a big contingent of people that are like, how dare you? Joe is still the man. And they just can't accept it. Like, listen, and I don't even know what the answer is. This is what I said. They're both horrible choices, so they can't choose one. There's like 50-50 split right now. You've got the argument CNN wants Biden gone, it's clear. And then you have the Biden loyalists, some of the people he's paying, I'm sure, but other people that just don't want egg on their face because they trusted Biden and they think Biden can beat Trump again. But it's clear that Biden's just not going to win. I don't know what to tell you guys. Unless there's something absolutely crazy that comes out about Trump, the number one reason that Biden can't win is because he has to serve 4 more years, which is just a total clownacy. There's zero chance Biden could maybe even make it to 2026. I mean, he can't even make it to 2025. Like, it's just, that's what demoralizes independent people, and that's why Trump is going to basically be guaranteed to win. Now, obviously, it's an election. Again, you've got October. Maybe there's a surprise, things like that. Maybe they use some type of, cyber thing. You've got the illegal stuff coming out, and Trump spoke on that on Truth Social. I really wish Trump would come back to X. I don't know what happened with that thing where he had the contract. I thought it was expiring in June of 2023, so he could come back to X. He'd be so much more influential. It would be better. I mean, maybe right now you could say being in the shadows is good, but I don't know if I think a lot of Truth Social's value is tied to just Trump being exclusively on there. And unfortunately, he's got like a lot of money invested into it. I know it's like a stock now, whatever. But him being on X would be a lot better in terms of just notoriety. Either way, I mean, this is just, they're crying in a circle, and it was reported, you've got one representative coming out, and they got him on video, and he's like, we're not even on the same page, we're not even in the same universe, it's a total mess, because there's no obvious choice, they've screwed themselves, both Biden and Harris are unlikable, and now the updated polls suggest pretty much what I said about 2 weeks ago, where I do think Biden would be, in terms of polling against Trump, polling better than Harris. And now he is, at least according to a few polls. Who knows if that'll, remain the same, but I'm just saying based on a few different recent things. You do have 81% of Americans want proof of U.S. citizenship to vote, which is just an overwhelming majority. So 81%. And so if you're wondering, well, that's crazy. How would the Democrats oppose that? Their argument is total gaslighting. They say, oh, it's already illegal to vote. Yes, but why not? Well, number one, it's already been reported, and Reddit people who are not citizens actually admitted that they had already signed up to vote. They didn't even know it, and they weren't legal. You just had to check a box. So it's clear it needs an overhaul. And even if you just want to play, devil's advocate, why not just, if you're a liberal, if you think conservatives are making a huge deal about this and it's not happening, why not just let them enact their laws? This is not an overbearing thing. It's just show your ID, prove that you're a citizen when you're at the polls, and it's that simple. It's that simple. And so they say, oh, it's not happening. Well, if it's not happening, why not let conservatives pass this so they don't have an excuse? This is what I said yesterday. They won't do it. And there's a lot of things that are coming out about that. Look, I'm not going to get into it because it is a demoralization thing. And I'm sure a lot of liberals like when conservatives talk about, oh, there's a bunch of illegal voting, because it does become something where it's demoralizing, and you get this never-ending thing where if you're a conservative and you lose an election, you just blame it on, illegal voting or fraudulent stuff. It's important to understand that, you need to vote, and Trump only lost by 40K. It's not like this insurmountable thing. I don't think it'll really matter. I don't even think like the whole thing with Project 2025, them coming out and just continue. I mean, Biden said, or his people said, because he doesn't control his own Twitter. I mean, a lot of politicians don't, to be fair, but they were like, Google Project 2025. They're still hitting it. Honestly, I don't think it matters, man. I think Biden and Harris are down by so much, it just does not matter. Like, he's just not going to win. I don't know what to say. Whether or not Trump denounces Project 2025, supports it, I don't think it matters. So I know Trump politically did denounce it. This is great. And this is what I want to, this is just so weird that 538, I know they became like a feeder thing. They got bought out by Disney and ABC, and Nate Silver has his own thing now. But this stuff is it just doesn't make any sense. What's the point of having a prediction model if you're just not going to take polls into account, like reputable polls, legit polls? These 10 polls of Arizona average out to Trump plus 7.3. So, of course, 538 has the state forecast as Trump plus 2. Fine, I'll drop the 2 biggest polls for Trump, and here it is, still Trump plus 5.5 or almost plus 6. It just doesn't make any sense. Like these are reputable polls. Like you cannot argue that Trump, I don't know what predictive model they're using. And a lot of it's like, whatever, just forget about it. It's one prediction. But like, you're just wasting your time. There is not a predictive model in the world where if you take all of the Arizona polls and you combine them in an aggregate, all of the recent polls with Kennedy, Biden, and Trump, there is zero chance outside of them manipulating the model or using some type of, based on 2020, 2016, 2012, 2008, like previous elections. There's just no way. It says it's like a simulation, but you have to factor in the polls. 95% of yeah, there's no point even talking about this. It's just a waste of time. Google Project 2025. It doesn't matter. You're going to lose anyways. If the RNC passes this next week, I will be leaving the Republican Party if my party cannot. Yeah, so there's a lot of these hardline conservatives who are very religious that are not liking Trump placating to some independent voters. I think it really doesn't matter. The independent voters are more important. Trump just wants to get in office. It's clear he's listening to his advisors. He's trying to be more moderate, and people hate that. And people, a lot of conservatives, or at least some of them, didn't like Trump's first term. They said he didn't do enough. You have to understand, when you get into actually the role of being the president, it's very hard to do things, especially for Trump, who's got no relationships in D.C. You know, he's coming in out of the blue. He had zero previous leadership experience. Now, we like that. We do like an outsider coming in, but it does come with some problems. That's like they try and argue, well, Biden got more stuff done than Trump. Well, no shit. Biden's been in politics. He's been in D.C. for 50 years. Oh my God, you're kidding me. Wow. It's just ridiculous. And a lot of that stuff, by the way, was not good. And now it's all come out. They've done the revisionist stuff where they're asking people, what did you think of Trump's 4 years? And now, with what we've seen from Biden, so he has a 51% approval rate, 47 disapproval, +4. So that's a +4. And if he gets into the White House and he really is able to, I would say the number one key, believe it or not, is to try and get everyday prices down, which is tied to inflation. But if he can do that, I really think he has a chance, especially now that people don't buy the media rhetoric. It's like Trump is this big, bad, evil person. Obviously, the deportations are important. That's like the number one thing. But also the inflation, just for common Americans, that will really help Trump. And that should raise his approval rating significantly, I would say. You've got more disaster. Oh, yeah, so here it is right now. The House Democratic caucus meeting with Biden's future as the candidate was a disaster, according to Jake Sherman, who reported it. Felt like a funeral. So these people can just not agree on anything. They're going to these meetings. It's a horrible, horrible situation. It's a funeral. You've got Democrats saying they're not on the same page. They're not even in the same book. So that's being reported. And it continues to be a total charade. Trump really doesn't have to say anything. I think he's trying to drag out naming a VP, just let all this stuff happen. And at some point, there's either going to have to be some type of, support going around Biden or really, because the thing is, this is still a developing situation. It's not like they can just say, well, Biden's our guy. It's done, because there's another debate. There's going to have to be more public appearances. They're saying Biden's doing this big boy press conference, which will be very interesting, especially if he takes questions. The whole NATO charade. There's like a NATO summit coming up. Biden's going to speak at. I think it's in the United States. So there's some, it's a developing situation. You just can't stick to Biden. What if he messes something up really bad within the next 2 weeks? The problem is now people are going to be looking for the Biden mess ups. And obviously, Biden is going to mess up. That's what he does. He's too old at this point. There's been people that have admitted he's got Parkinson's. He shows all the signs. So it's like, of course he's going to continue to mess up. You can't just sit there and say, all right, we're done. We're supporting Biden. It's over. Because what if it gets even worse, which I would expect it probably to, with the American people already looking for cracks when it comes to Biden and what he says and how he says it and how his age is affecting him. It's only going to compound and get worse. But it's not like Harris is this great candidate either. I don't think they're going to win. I just don't. It seems almost impossible. It would have to be something self-inflicted by Trump. And I do think all of these polls that have Trump up by 5, 6, 7 points in all the swing states, the election odds have him like 70, 80% chance to win. Some of this is a byproduct. I mean, let's be honest. It is a byproduct of Democrat incompetence. It is. There's no way Trump would be up by like this much without the incompetence we're seeing. Where these people, 4 months before the election, they are split. This is totally rare. It is completely rare. And now we're going to see the down ballot effects, which is going to be very important if Trump does want to do Project 2025. He needs both chambers for sure. Preferably with breathing room with the Senate like 53, 54 seats. Yeah, they're not taking the Senate. There's no way if Trump wins, especially by the amount he should win by, The Republicans will get the Senate. The House is like 50-50 right now. I also think the Republicans would take the House. Right now, in terms of the sweep, the presidency, the House and the Senate, I think it's like a 51% chance according to analytics, but that was before the recent surge with Trump. It might be at around 55-56%. So, and this is something the Democrats have talked about over the past week. With how bad Biden has been, a lot of these people, it's going to be a really bad thing where it's like we can't even contend for the Senate, which was originally thought to be possibly, maybe a 45% chance. And now we might, not have a chance in the House either. And so now some of the Democrats are wising up and saying we have to do something, whether that's getting rid of Biden or I don't know what, because again, it's not like Harris is any better. It is literally two bad options. And this is the other thing that I was going to talk about. The average for Pennsylvania, I said this yesterday. I said Pennsylvania is a Republican. Well, no, you can't say it's a safe Republican. It's a lean Republican because all we've been talking about is there is something that's affecting that. It's that Bloomberg poll, which I don't think was accurate. I think it had Trump +5 or +7. Maybe +7. That might be boosting his numbers because you also have to remember that Bloomberg poll had Biden +5 in Michigan or something. I just think it's erroneous. But in general, Pennsylvania has been trending towards Trump. I think it's a lean Republican right now. The other two Rust Belt states are both toss-ups, I would say. You could argue Wisconsin. There's another poll that has Trump up by 5 recently. You could say that Wisconsin is also a slight lean Republican in terms of that. Here's the Wisconsin poll. Trump +5. You include everyone. Trump +6. Shouldn't surprise anyone. And then look at this, Emerson coming out with all of these different matchups. Trump +3 over Biden, +6 over Kamala, +6 over Bernie, +5 over Al Gore, +7 over Hillary, +8 over Newsom, +10 over Buttigieg, +10 over Warren, +10 over Whitmer, and then +8 over Josh Shapiro. So it's very obvious, at least according to this, you got to stick with Biden. He's your best chance, but even that is a demoralizing number. Trump being up 3 in terms of a general. Where was that one tweet that I saw? God, let me find that tweet. Oh, here it is right here. Rare Clear Politics poll average on this day in prior campaigns. 2020, Biden was +9. That's the head-to-head popular vote. That's what they're referencing. Hillary was +4.5. Obama was +2.5. Obama was +4. And Kerry was +2. First time in 24 years the GOP nominee has led after the 4th of July holiday. So people might be saying, well, that's crazy. That means the country is shifting conservative. That actually might be true, but this is also a thing where the Democrats have had just horrible incompetency throughout not only Biden's whole administration, but recently with Biden in the debate, and they're completely split. I think even without Biden's bad performance, Trump would probably have, in terms of popular vote, he would probably have maybe a 1.5 point lead. What is it right now? Like 3.5 to 4, maybe like a 1.5 to 2. The problem is it's not just the debate. It's the media coverage and the compounding effect of them trying to force Biden out and Biden not leaving. So it makes Biden look very egotistical. Liberal media saying you can't do it, and you've got all these Biden supporters, the loyalists, who just will not shut up and just not admit that. And to be honest, maybe they're right. Maybe Biden, even as a vegetable, has a better chance than Kamala. But some of the polls suggest it. But it's just like, is Biden really actually going to have a chance? I think it's a bad choice versus a bad choice, and that's why they can't come to an agreement. And Biden is trying to kind of bully his way to staying in it. I think without Jill and Hunter, he would be very receptive to dropping out, but with their influence, it's going to be hard to get him out. But I think you could get him out very easily by releasing stuff. And I know they have released stuff with the doctors and all the meetings that they've had, but you could really ratchet it up even more. There seems to be things coming out every single day, but right now, it's such a horrible situation for the left. They're like crying hysterically in circles in the White House. It's a sob sesh. Like you see in Russia where they get into a circle, they start crying, bawling. It's something you would see in like a dictatorship, where it's just very weird people. And I guess that's the situation. I mean, Axios is reporting that. So that is the updated stuff. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.